Main purpose of streaming requirement of the current generation application uh, is solved by HTML5. Typically, I want to tell because HTML5 contains or adds two more tags, which is called video and audio. So we can directly stream a content through HTTP itself. Possibly, media files such as MP4 and MP3 format could be easily streamed. So I'm going to write a simple example. Maybe I'll give a topic as others. I'd like to add a couple of other examples as well. I'm going to need some video and audio files. Let me see if I have in my computer. It's a very big file. I'm just copying a MP4 file which is there in my computer, or maybe a slightly bigger one. I don't have others. I'm also going to need a music file, an audio file. So some sort of music file I have, MP3. So we can proceed adding those tags. Most of the modern browsers supports the video tag, uh, like Safari, Firefox, IE latest versions, and of course Chrome, Opera, everything. So video tag has a built-in control system, so you can say like all you need to say control. You don't need to give any things. Just controls mean it will automatically put the controls like move. There will be a gear system like you can stream the video forward, backward, or whatever. So it will add a control for you. So just need to add one more tag called source. Give a path of your MP4 file. This is MP4 file. It's a highest compressed coding, so encoding method. So it will slightly have a better compression ratio than other formats. And we need to tell type. This is optional, but I would recommend MP4. So once I type just a video control and source the file what I have here, and I've made the type as a video slash MP4, and I've given video controls. I have a couple of controls like autoplay that also I can put, so it will immediately start playing as the particular DOM is loaded. I mean when it starts running. So if we see it's slightly bigger. Let me make it slightly smaller. Like a image, you can simply give a width alone, height automatically the aspect ratio would be maintained. So that adds a control. If you notice, the video starts playing straight away because I put a autoplay option. And controls mean these are all the controls like pause and the gear to move forward, backward, and the video straight away plays. And also we have a full screen mode, so we can see the video directly in full screen. We don't need to add any JavaScripting, and we can directly see the video playing using the video tag. It's pretty straightforward. Previously we were using some sort of plugin system such as media player plugin for Windows, maybe Flash extensively, like what I call YouTube was extensively using Flash for stream the video. Right now HTML5 enabled browser can straight away stream the video, so without any problem. But I noticed some sort of issues are there in Chrome, where I noticed sometimes I have a little difficulty to forward the content Notice this happens only in Chrome, that too especially on Mac environment. I hope it doesn't come in other systems, I mean Windows based system. But if I play the same in other browser, it works perfectly. If you notice, I'm just going to close, going to run on a browser Safari. I can simply, I can move the gear to any position here. It works flawlessly, but I have a little trouble in Chrome only, so where I could not stream the video, I mean clearly. But of course, in both the cases, the video tag works perfectly because of the support. The HTML5 provides a built-in video tag where you can define the source. You can directly play the video content in the browser. I mean, you can directly stream it. It depends on your internet connection. But anyway, I'm running on the hosted system, local host, so it's running in my own computer itself. But if you are running in a hosted system where the content is hosted somewhere else, and it will probably, what's the last bench is doing? Is that people don't listen. What's going on there? Are you guys are listening or doing something else? Okay. So if the particular content is hosted locally, it will straight away stream it faster. But if you are hosting in a different server, the streaming time may be limited, but it can stream buffer the content accordingly. Everything is built in as far as HTML5 is concerned. So video works, and let's see how the audio part works. Let me put some sort of break in a new line. Audio, which is pretty similar. You can also give audio controls. Sorry, control. That's called control. But it's also pretty, I mean, smaller, and the control does not add various features. It only adds a start and stop button, and of course autoplay also you can put. It can straight away start playing the audio, and you cannot give a width because it's a fixed width, and you can give a source, and giving the mp3. So the type you can give audio. It is recommended to keep MPEG format because most of the compression based on the MPEG, be it MP3 or even some other format, most of the formats, there are other Apple formatted, Windows Media formatted, are the most are relevant to this kind of a compress technique. So audio, it's pretty simple. Let me refresh. If you notice, it's actually start playing. I've turned my song is playing, of course. So, and of course the video will also have its own volume because the computer have lesser volume set, so it could play out of the box. So we don't need to do additional coding to stream the video content and audio content, so we can directly straight away we can stream it over the browser. So these are the two additional tags which is widely used in HTML5 for streaming the content, especially video and audio files. And there are other ways. Probably you can further add a couple of other plugins using JavaScript, but extending this on probably doing more this thing more with audio and video controls is going to be beyond to the scope of our training program because we are probably restricted with mobility stuff. But I would like to introduce, so these are all two tags exist. Okay. And one more interesting thing I wanted to discuss now is the canvas. HTML5 has a vector graphics capability, as well as it can draw the picture directly in the browser. So canvas is one of a widely used one. I mean, especially in JavaScript, where you want to create some charts or maybe kind of a pictures in runtime, instead of having a PNG or graphical tool you want to use and then you create a picture, then you display in the browser. You can directly draw it. So that option is also there. in HTML. The canvas is one of option where you can draw basic shapes such as a circle, rectangular, lines. There are a couple of other things we can do with. And we also have another vector graphics tool called SVG. So that is same thing, but we do that using XML instead of doing most of the thing like in Canvas using JavaScript. We can do the same using XML as well. But before that, I'd like to introduce what is Canvas. So we'll see how the Canvas works, and then probably it will be easy for us to see what is SVG. So that part I'd like to introduce. So let me close it. Maybe unnecessary streaming. We had a break. BR will put a new line, so I'd like to have everything. So the tag called canvas. Within the canvas tag, you can draw anything. Mostly, I'm going to do a basic shaping like circle, rectangles, lines, or something. I'm going to draw. But if you are so familiar, if you have a graphical knowledge, you can produce a complex shapes. But that is also going to add a kind of because we are working on a limited scope because our requirement is to have learn more on the mobility. So the canvas part, I'm going to do the basic graphical usage only. So where I'm going to do a very basic shape or designing something like that. Before that, the canvas should have an active canvas area. So you can define a width and hide something. So this is your canvas area. I'd like to see how it looks. So I'll go back to Chrome because that issue. I do not see that typically. Where's the canvas here? So probably I can add a little bit of style to see. Put a border, 1 pixel, solid black. So the canvas area looks okay as if the words canvas exists. So in this case, I'm going to draw some content over here, or maybe going to do some sort of graphical images. Remember the canvas. Once I right click, it is telling me it's giving an option save images. Whereas outside of the canvas, if I give a right click, I won't get that option. Mean the canvas is an image drawing area. So whatever you're going to put, it could be downloaded as an image. Mean you're drawing an image directly in the browser rather than using graphical, graphics tools such as Adobe, Photoshop, or some sort of other drawing tools. So instead of using them, I'm going to draw directly in the browser itself. So I can still download it, but if I download, I won't get anything because it's just a kind of a rectangular, or rather square image, something I'd be downloading. So the canvas is a drawing area in this case. So I have a 300 pixel width and height canvas created for me. As far as this mobile and HTML, and in fact the canvas as well, it's based on the coordinate system, the pixel system. It means it is a two-dimensional plane where the x and y axis exist. So typically, I hope you remember your high school graphics. Sorry, not the graphics, of course. The graph, the mathematical. You may have some sort of, exercise where you'll be asked to write the vertices on lines in the graph. Graphics is nothing but the graph based on that only. So it has a x and y axis in the two-dimensional plane. The x and y axis as far as a mathematical term, can somebody tell me where is the x axis, where is the y axis? Which one is x axis? This one. Okay. Y? Vertical one. But for computer purpose, in this case, the option is same. But mathematical representation, where is the 0, 0 exist? Left bottom. The only difference in the computer system is going to be, it is the upper part, the topmost corner is going to be 0, 0. The x and y remain same. So the 0, 0 is going to be here. It's not going to be here as far as your simple academic based mathematics system. It's going to be here on the top. The 0, 0 is going to be on the top. So in the progressive side, if I go in x, it is the positive axis. So x1, 2, 3, 4, 5 something up to 300 pixel. In the progressive downward direction is y-axis positive direction, so it goes up to 300. So 0 to 300 in y and 0 to 300 in x. So all you just need to make an assumption is going to be that the 0, 0 is going to be on the top. This is particularly even in mobile also. So if you have a phone, we always calculate the pixel always on the top left corner. So from there the 0, 0 is going to be there. So this you need to slightly have a different calculation here. That's the only difference. Otherwise it is a perfect graph. Okay. So in this point I can say where is 10, 10 located means somehow I can get a point. Okay, maybe somewhere here, something like that. Means x axis 10 pixel and y axis 10 pixel, or where is the center exactly? Maybe x axis 150 pixel and corresponding y axis 150 pixel. So I may be coming into the center. So all you need to just assume it is a grid based system. You may, but I cannot put a grid, but all you need to have a mathematical expression in your mind. So stating that the 0, 0 exists always on the top most corner. So okay, we can do some sort of little graphics. Let's see how things work on. In fact, I also did quite long back. Let me try. First part, I may need a document load because the canvas should be loaded before so that the JavaScript can take over the control. I do not have a jQuery here, so I'm going to use body on load method or event. So script block start here. I'm going to have a method called init, so which will be fired as soon as all DOMs are loaded. I'm going to need two global variables. There are various ways to do it, but this is what I created a simplified example. There are plenty of examples available outside, but I try to simplify it as much as possible. One variable being the canvas. Just a name. It could be CED, also any name, but just to use defined variable, but I want to give a new canvas. Another one, the context, the instance of a canvas which is holding the graph. So two variables I'm going to use. The canvas and context should be initialized because the canvas is there at the very bottom of your HTML, so I need to make sure the DOMs are loaded, then I get an instance of the canvas. Let me give an ID. For name. Not using any jQuery. Document get element find ID. It's a name. My canvas. My browser working a little harder here because of the video content. And the context from the canvas, get context of the two-dimensional plane. So these two variables I'm going to use to draw a basic shape on the top of the canvas. Let me do a simplified one. I'll keep these guys slightly down. My concern right now is the canvas. Maybe I would prefer to have the time being commented. It won't load the video content quite often, so just I commented them. when I finish, I'll just uncommit everything so that you can see them. Just a canvas alone I have. I'm going to keep some button which will trigger subsequent uh, drawing. So draw a circle. So its function is going to call function on click. I'm going to use a context here onwards because context for drawing a circle I need to start with the method called begin path, and you need to have a little mathematics here. Context arc, sorry, arc C. Tell where you exactly want to have the uh, circle to be drawn, the position of the circle. I want to keep it exactly at the center, 150 pixel X, 150 pixel Y. So the center point of my circle is going to come exactly in the middle. The diameter of your circle, maybe 50 pixel. So in the center, a diameter of 50 pixel with diameters, of course, the half of the, I mean the double the size of the radius. And degrees. Start drawing the circle from the degree 0 to 360 degree, right? So 0 to 360 degree. There is a mathematical expression is there. Pi. 2 pi mean I hope is a 360 degree. So from 0 to 360 degree. So few thing, the position of the circle going to be 150 mean X and Y. The diameter of the circle is 50 pixel. Starting position of the circle, it's where it is going to begin the drawing 0 and it ends up to 360. I mean it exactly put one entire circle having X and Y center point as 150. Okay. Couple of things you need to give before. Context, fill style. Fill style means if you want to fill some sort of color within the particular what do you call it, the circle. You can give a HTML color codes, or probably you can give direct, because right now CSS5, sorry, CSS3 accepts the direct name of your color, red, blue, white, yellow. There are a list of suggestions maybe there. So first time context, just issue the command fill. Let me see how things come, but I'm a little skeptical over here. I got it. When I click on the button, exactly at the center of this particular canvas, a 50 pixel diameter. I'm a little suspicion over here. Diameter or radius, I'm a little confused over here. Maybe radius also possible. And the starting point from 0 to 360 degrees. So a plain circle has been drawn. And if you want, you can give a border. Two styles are pretty important as far as the canvas: the fill style and the stroke style. Fill mean the inner, what you said, that in a volumetric space, what is the inner color you're going to put? That is called fill. Stroke mean the outer side, the border. So you can give a stroke also. Stroke start. Say blue. An issue context stroke. First, it will fill with the red. For example, the arc. Of course, the circle is going to have the fill color red, and the stroke color going to be blue. The border. See that the blue border is there. You can see visibly. I mean, there are options also there to context and width. I remember, but I'm not sure. If I can increase the line width of the stroke, yeah, so slightly I can give a thicker border. So I think a border I can give. So line width if you give. Remember, I'm touching everything to a context. Mean I'm changing everything on the two-dimensional space of the context. It is a common variable because I have made it as a global variable. So any changes you add will further have effect on further design or drawing what you are going to do. So if you really want, you can keep a line width, but I'm not going to keep a line width now because just wanted to show that the stroke is possible, but still you could notice there is a thin line of a border could be put in place. I'm assuming by seeing it, the 50 looks like a radius instead of a diameter. This one. So you can create some 100. If I put 150, exactly half, so it occupies the full thing, mean it's a radius instead of diameter. So make sure the third argument is a radius. So I'll put it to 50 itself. So x, y, radius, start, degree, and so these are all the parameters and the subsequent values it is taking. So the arc, the first and second points are x and y, and the radius and the starting degree and the end degree. So this is what it draws. Now I can right click, save image. I can safely download it. My image will have a kind of circle. So the canvas, you just because it's just a transparent plane, I haven't given any kind of a look and feel, but I do have a kind of circle. So I can create an image directly in the browser itself. But we'll have some other shapes added, then we'll think about downloading it. And I'll also add one more method to clear the canvas. So if I'm done with that, I can clear the canvas context. Clear rect. Actually, I'm not going to clear the rectangle. See, rectangle square is nothing but the width and height is going to be there. So the canvas itself a kind of a rectangle, but it looks like a square, but which is having a width and height parameter. I'm just going to fill with some sort of empty value. So that will eventually clear the whatever drawing written on the canvas, as if you are putting a white paint on the top of it. So just delete or put that in the whatever existing content below to it. The rectangle, as usual, starting point and the end point of x and y, of course, sorry, not starting point, x and y position 0, 0, and fill the rectangle width and height, which I am going to give the same size of the canvas width. It means a rectangle is going to be drawn, a transparent rectangle which is going to fill. So starting from 0, 0, 0 mean x and y going to be 0, which is nothing but the topmost position. From here it will entirely fill a rectangle. But even though it looks like a square, you can safely treat it as a rectangle. So it will clear the canvas if at all, if this particular function is called. So let me put one more button. So if I draw a circle, if I clear, it disappears. So I can use the canvas for drawing other whatever shapes. So a simple utility we have added. Any attempt to add further shapes will overlap each other. Remember the canvas, because the reason the canvas is a global object as far as this particular code. One single existing two-dimensional pane on the top, I'm drawing some sort of basic shapes. So if I try to add on rectangle here, naturally the square will go behind, the rectangle will overlap or will sit on the top. So if you messed it up, just simply clear it and redraw and start from where you want to do. So I've made it as a simple example. Make one more thing. Let me draw a rectangle. It's all look like existing functions, but I won't recommend them. I would say I'll keep on as a prefix to make sure such a function never exists, because draw circle, draw rect may be already taken or reserved keywords. As I already have a habit of keeping some sort of on prefix for all my JavaScript function, I'm going to do the same here. So this is to avoid I shouldn't use some of the already taken methods. This is safer. So, it works. So I'm going to draw a rectangle now. So context. I can straight away start drawing the rectangle. So I'll have a different fill style this time. Already blue has been used. Let me use green. Fill rect. As usual, filling the rectangle. Starting from the starting point you need to give. So I want to start from 0, 0, extreme. But I want to fill half of the canvas. I don't want to fill the full canvas. So starting from 0, 0, width and height you should decide. The width I want to take it as 300 pixel. The height I want to take 150 pixel, half. Those first two argument xy, the starting point, and second two arguments going to be width and height. So the width I'm going to take 300 pixel, the height I'm going to take 150 pixel. Let me see if that works. Works. So the half of the rectangle has been drawn, because I want to show you that it starts from the XY position 0, 0. Width is 300 pixel and the height is 150 pixel. Not to get confused with X and Y other position, but the inference should be in such a way. 0, 0 is the starting axis. From there, the width 300 pixel is taken and height is 150 pixel is taken. So this is should be your understanding on filling the rectangle. So X and Y, width and height. This is, so I already have. Now if I put a circle here, see, it just overlaps. So on the top the circle has been drawn. You can clear both. This time you can draw a circle first and put a rectangle on the top of it. It's up to you. Just a simple idea, like it looks like it is maintaining a stack or something like this. On the top is being added here. Clear. I'll put one more rectangle, that will be even good. That's what I was working on. We're going to put two rectangles. The second rectangle, I want to fill the other half, this half. So, can somebody tell me from where to start? What's X? In this case, this is, pardon? Okay, so any other changes? Width and height, we don't need to order, so let's see. It fills. So two halves. So this is how your graphics or something is being made, of course. So it's all mathematical expressions and a circle. I don't know. It looks like a flag. So the first rectangle sits on the top because it is having the starting point x and y set to 0, 0. From there, the height has been taken. So width has been taken 300 pixel. Height has been taken 150 pixel. The same thing, but the starting point of the second rectangle is set to 0, 150 because it's still in the x-plane 0, whereas the y it has moved 150 pixel away, and from there the width and height is calculated. So two rectangles have been used here, and the last one, line, a ruler, a kind of line. Before, if you want to have a stroke also, stroke mean border, for this you can use a full stroke. Stroke mean the border, the outer edges. If you want to have a different color for a stroke, you can give a context full stroke, stroke style to set maybe yellow. Make sure you give the same because it sits exactly on the existing rectangular. So a kind of a border I have added only for, I think it's not visible at all. So it's a stupid idea. It's not fill. Fill is different. So stroke rect. Fill is for inner content. Stroke is for outer content. So it should be stroke rect. You notice there is a kind of a yellowish line is there. Maybe I can add a line width. So the border is having a kind of yellowish stroke. I will add this guy's a stroke value, but if you really want, you can give it some different stroke. Kind of different borders, so which the one is overlapping, but if you want to have a stroke, you can have in this way as well. See, this stroke is overlapping this guy, so that's the reason I never prefer using the stroke if at all required. But if at all required, I'm not going to have the line width, because line width will be a global object for wherever the stroke is coming. So that will eventually take the last entered value, which will be added to a further component such as a circle. So I want to avoid that. Simplified stroke kind of thing is there. Okay, so we are going to draw a line. Line is a stroke only because the line itself, it's not going to be a container for something else. It's just one thin line. So I need to only worry about stroke style. Black. First, keep your line move to a position with a 0, 0 starting point. From there, line 2, the starting point 0, 0, the end point, where we'll draw 0. Oh no, what is this exact position in this case? 300, 300, right? So 300, 300. And finally issue the command to stroke fully. This kind of stroke full will only come for a line and a circle. Don't need it. Rectangle, I can directly fill stroke in the rectangular shape itself, whereas the line and circle, first you need to decide the line, then you give a stroke and fill values. I don't have a function for this. Kind of a line. So just again overlap, that will be even better. Kind of shape we are getting into. If you want to clear, you can start from the beginning. See, these are all the already, that's what I said. I'm not actually clearing the canvas, I'm just filling it with a white kind of transparent color. So there are chances sometimes the background color may appear. If you want to get rid of it, you can one more time cast it. It's not going to harm anything. So you can have your own coloring or something like this. We'll put one more ruler by crossing this. Make this as a line 1. Okay, I want to do in opposite direction. I want to move. I want to come here. So can you tell me what is the x and y position as for this one? 0, 300, 0. Sorry. What's that? 300. Okay, I want to come up to here. 0, 300. So this is an opposite side. This is the side. Circle. Otherwise, we prefer to add this one first and put these two circle and this whatever. So once you are done, you can right click save image and download it. You'll have your image created. So it's pretty simple. There are other thing you can have. If you are good at mathematical thing, you can make the circle into a ellipse by having the starting and end degree, or taking a Bezier curve. If you are very good at maths, you can do and create various shapes. So there are various options to do the canvas, but the scope of training program is not to do with the graphics much, but just I created a simple example so that just you will understand how a canvas could be put in use. So this is pretty helpful if you want to create shapes in runtime, especially if you want to create some images, bar charts, so that the user want to download based on the inputs what he entered. You can use the canvas quite, easily, and produce some sort of charting and shapes, and let the user download if required. And another option we have, which is called some simple vector, the SVG, which will also do the same job, but instead of doing everything through JavaScript, we can use XML. So that part probably I'll take it tomorrow. This is still a miscellaneous one that's also pretty simple. And we've already seen the video audio. What is left? I think drag and drop something I saw in the content. Let me see if I have it. Okay. I don't know where I kept it. Let me see if I can finish that as well. Pretty old exercises. So we have seen canvas, video, audio tags. Now the one I'm going to plan, drag and drop. Drag and drop, that's also we won't be using much because our device itself a drag drop based one if you are working for mobility. But in such a case, within the view we want to use a drag and drop feature, like drag a content, put it in somewhere else. HTML5 has a built-in option, of course, with the help of JavaScript. So for that, I'm going to use two divs, two boxes. It's going to be target div, where the final one. So source div. Something what I have inside this div, I'm going to put it in the another div. So it's going to be drag and drop. So what I'm going to keep inside, before we'll give some sort of width and height for this div. I don't want to use a style sheet. I'm going to give a inline style sheeting, so where you can exclusively write a style for the specific DOM. So width maybe some 600 pixel. Sorry, it's too much height. 200 pixel. I give the both the DOMs having the same value. So use some error. There is a div here. So on my safer side, somebody will send SMS. Let me put a border so that I can see the div. So we have two divs. So here I'm going to have an image. I'm going to drag it to here so that a drag and drop works or something like that. So another inspiration. It's touching the line, which I don't like. Okay, put an image. I don't know what was the image I have in my computer. I'm going to use the same image I already have. Some name I just gave. Since I adjusted the height, I'll make it as a 200 pixel. So if I drag this image, it should come here, but typically it won't come. It looks like draggable, but it is not actually dragging anything. Probably I can drag it here and see it in full screen because it's the browser capability. But I want to drag this particular image, put it in this div. So I drag and drop a kind of thing. So if you are using mobile phone, you can long press to start the drag and drop. So the cell phone by right click, or sorry, long press. I mean, in Windows, I forgot the combination. So some sort of thing you need to hold to have the long clicking happen. So simply drag and drop to make it work. I'm going to make this particular div which could accept the drag. So before that, I need to do some other functions and additions. I probably need an ID for this image. So I'm going to make CNB image, some sort of name. So other ID is already there. Going to add a couple of functions. First thing, what are the function or HTML events I need to capture so that the drag and drop can put into use. First thing, I need to make sure the draggable part of this particular image set to true. By default it is true only, but to make sure, I want to keep the draggable part set to true. Maybe some browser may not accept, because already I could somehow drag it. The drag part is working, but anyway, I want to tell this particular image is set to drag. And another one, on start and drag start. As soon as the dragging started, I want to capture that particular event into a function. So we'll write the function then. About this particular div, where it is going to accept the particular drag or dragged component, I need to have some event listener such as drop. Drop. As soon as the user leave the particular image on the top of this div, so we need to get the particular data from there. And one more, on drag over. On drag over means this is an event when I take this particular div up on the top of this div, simply I leave it. So it is, my dragging is over in this case. So once I leave it, it should sit in this div rather than coming back to this div. So I need to do some sort of, I need to cancel some sort of default actions. If you look at it, the default action, if I simply leave it, it is going back to the previous div. So I need to do some sort of arrangement, some sort of methods to prevent the default feature of this DOMs, so that it simply moved here will settle in the second DOM itself. I mean the target DOM or target div, whatever we are written here. So I just need to do some sort of technique here. So I have some sort of methods, event listener ready for me. One, I set to draggable part set to true. The second one, I'm about to start the dragging, and in the second div it is going to be dropped, and also I'm going to capture an event when the user leaves the particular object, like in this case image, when he leaves it for dropping, and I'm going to capture that event as well. First thing, I'm going to make it accept drop, mean when I leave the drag, I want to accept it, or first at least think I want to prevent the default options. For example, when I leave it, I don't want it to go back to a previous DOM. So in this case, I may need some sort of events. We have an option called prevent default, which we have already used somewhere in jQuery mobile also, which will prevent the default whatever actions. It will stop there itself. The default actions is nothing but when as soon as I leave the drag, it goes back to the previous one. That I am going to prevent now. So even prevent default looks fine. Okay. Drop it. It's also going to take another event. The one drag over I just wrote, except the drop. So both are going to take some events. Drag over, slightly grayed out. I'm not sure. Okay, it's fine. Drop it. I'll fill the function later because I want to just drag itself fine, because I'm just a little worried about maybe the function which has already been taken. So the last one, I'll make it as a drag begin. All are taking an argument called event, because the event is going to contain the HTML event which is associated. In this case, drop will have an event associated to a drop. In drag begin mean drag start event would be there as an argument here. Using that, as soon as the event dragging started, event data transfer, I remember. I'm going to need a key and value I'm going to associate. So CNV something, any constant value you can keep it, and that is going to keep the target ID. It's nothing but as soon as the dragging starts, the event will have a data of your image and hold that image mapped in a key called CNV. So even target ID, nothing but the ID of your image, because the drag begin is right now associated to an image only. So it will contain that information of your image as soon as the dragging started. And now I'm going to drop it. So first thing I need to stop the default one. Now I need to get back the data. get data, in this case CNV, the same key, and finally, so this event, drop it event is there for the for a div tag. So I'm going to append to this div tag, append child, I remember. If it is jQuery, it would be very easy. I can simply give a DOM ID and append. But this is the exact equivalent to JavaScript, pure JavaScript. So you want to append the particular DOM. In this case, the event is associated with the div name called target div. On that, you are appending, you are adding one child. That child having an ID called, because the ID only I am sending here. So document we get element, the ID to do with the image data. I'm assuming these three methods should do the job. Okay. You see, first thing, when I drag it, I notice now the DOM is ready to accept my image because the plus symbol is coming out. Before it was not coming. Now I can simply drop it. So it will sit on the another DOM. So from here it is moved to a second DOM. We want to test it. From here I can move it to a second DOM. A simple drag and drop. We want to bring it back because this DOM does not accept drags or dragged event. So we have to make that part. What you can do, the target DOM accept the drop events, so I'm going to make the source also accept the same, so that the drag and drop works vice versa. You can drop it here, you can bring it back here, so I can drag, drop, doing that. It could be anything. Drag and drop could be image, could be another div, or could be group of data. But for our testing purpose, I kept an image for having the particular part to be dragged and dropped. So you need to understand these events. First part, any DOM you are trying to make it as a draggable, you need to make it as draggable set to true. And one method which starts the dragging part, one is on drag start. So as soon as this event is triggered, meaning the user has long pressed the particular DOM and is about to drag. So the dragging started. So that tells this particular event. As soon as that is triggered, I am capturing the dragged data and putting into a data transfer set data, mean I'm creating a bundleable or bundler object. That object is going to contain a key. In that, the ID of the particular object which is getting dragged is saved. And when the target DOM, on the top of the target DOM, this particular object is hovered. For example, I'm not hovering on my target in this case, but as soon as I go to the particular DOMs which is ready to take any dropping object, will have a specific symbol also put, that plus symbol comes here. So as soon as you move on the top of it, you can capture the data by duly preventing the default action. Otherwise, if you do not put this, it will go back to the previous place, it won't be dropped on the top of it. And then open the bundler object which you set while you start the dragging. The same bundler object, supply the same key, get back the ID of the image data, or in this case a DOM which is getting dragged, and append to the particular DOM where it is getting dropped. And finally, when the user leave it and it gets dropped, and also we make sure it by accept drop, we make sure it doesn't go back to the previous DOM. So that's also we are preventing the default actions. If you do not put that, it will go back to the previous DOM itself. So these are all the simple examples of drag and drop. And on the top we have a canvas. It's pretty cool. So we have put the canvas here. I think we also have a option to add a text, so that also I'll finish it off, then we'll complete the canvas before we go for a lunch break. Context, you need to give a font. Should be in the format bold. If you have a normal type, you don't need to give bold. Point value you can give 20 point, the size of the font. Font type, Arial font or whatever font type, or Times New Roman, anything, Verdana, something you can put. Context, fill style, set to, I'm going to make it as a white, because almost all the backgrounds are almost darkened, so we can put a white. Fill text, I remember. This is slightly tricky here. Fill text. X and Y 0 0 X and Y. Let me see the coordinate in the document. I forgot the coordinate for a text. Canvas text. It's official one, Mozilla. Oh, the text, of course, that's pretty important. I think the third one looks like an optional one. Which text you want to type? Say India or something. The pixel X and Y position. Let me give exactly center, but may not be center because the starting text is going to come from 150 pixel. Let me see how things goes on. Put these guys first. It's not working. Should see some sort of error in this case. String is not a function. Okay. It's not a function, I can directly give a specification. We got a text here. It starts from 150. I need to little bit, I need to bring it to a center. So I need to X direction, I want to reduce some 20 pixel away. Still not center. You can bring 110 if required. Almost center. And Y also I want to slightly bring it down so that 60. Let me try with 160 first. Yeah, good. Still bring it. That's really bad. Some sort of design. So if you really want, you can save the image. So you can say you're done with the canvas. So a simple example on the canvas we saw. Of course, for stroke also you can give border edges for this text. You can give. Of course, you can give a, instead of fill text, you can give a stroke text, and that will put a border for your text. You can experiment that. And we also saw drag and drop, and we also saw today the most important one, an interesting one, video and audio tags. So all put together using today. That's it. So very few concept. Yeah, I don't think you will be using this kind of canvas and other stuff would be widely in your project, but if you want, you can use it. But most of the drawing and graphic stuff would be there would be a separate team to create for your mobile project. You won't be doing it like this way. But anyway, we had those things in content, so we covered them as well. Apart from that, we have vector graphics, which is same, but instead of JavaScript, we will be using XML and MathML, which I saw in your content, which is no browser so far. Even Chrome does not accept, Safari does not accept. I don't even think the Firefox latest version accepts. So MathML, where you can create write a mathematical formulas, but while it's not accepted, so I'll leave the document for you. So it's not working. I tested in the other browsers. So SVG and regular expression is the only thing we need to see. So once we cover, we are done with the mobility. So I want you to test this part also once you are done with your other projects which you are trying to see how the index DB work. I'll also upload one full-fledged source code having the previous student record app migrated into index DB. If I start explaining, it will eventually take a longer time, so I'll publish the source code, and I'll also, if possible, I'll put the video if required. But I want you to do it independently, see how you could migrate that into IndexedDB. That's it.